of the show for today. We're talking about the ability to empower the community politically, and Representative Gilmore has given us some information in reference to some of the political empowerments that are available doing what she does and as a representative in the Tennessee General Assembly. And now Reverend Walker will talk about some of the activities that you believe the church can become involved in terms of giving the people more power, making it more than simply a Sunday kind of thing that people go through.
Well, first of all, Dr. Haney, let me say that I'm honored to be sitting here with Representative Brenda Gilmore, because she's truly a trooper in the community. You know, she's always actively involved in everything. I mean, I'm not talking about some things, but it seems like she's involved in everything that's positive, that's going to be uplifting, that's going to educate and empower people. So I'm just honored to be here with you on this in this setting right here. In terms of the church's involvement, you know, there's a segment in my church services that I carve out especially for myself to talk about things, to talk about issues. And it's my time of pastoral reflection. And the number one thing I always begin with is voting and the importance of voting, because I'm serious. If we don't voice our vote, then we have no voice. And our vote is our voice. So, and in this day and age, there's a lot of, and I'm not trying to find no good, clean words to say, but there's a lot of ignorance and stupidity that goes along around in the clergy, where you have clergy that are actually encouraging people to not vote. Man, Dr. Haney, that's crazy. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. You know, I could be one of those individuals right now that do not have voting rights because of the fact that of a felony conviction, but because of when I got that conviction, I have a right to vote. I first started voting while I was incarcerated in the prison system. But for somebody to suggest that, you know, Christians shouldn't vote, man, that's just totally crazy, you know.
You find that there are some people that even suggest that Christians, or that people, not only anybody, ought not to vote?
And I'm not talking about just people saying, I'm talking about people that are in ministry, people that have influence in the lives of other people, that those words could carry some weight in terms of people making that decision whether or not to vote or to cast that ballot, and that's crazy.
What would be the justification for an individual in the clergy, for example, to counsel people not to participate in the political process? I find it difficult to even come to.
There is no justification. You know, you can't get it biblically. You know, when they needed a replacement for Judas, they voted. You know, so you can't get it biblically. So I don't know where they get it from. You know, we're also encouraged to pray for those who are in authority, that we may live a quiet and peaceable life. So where that mindset comes from, I do not know. All I do know that it does not make sense. And with this crazy stuff about a separation between church and state, you know, there's nothing in our Constitution that says that. You know, there's no separation. You know, we have to be involved. Everything that has taken place politically, if you look at our history, especially the history of blacks in America, if you look at our history, everything filtered its way through the church. You have to realize we honor Martin Luther King. We march in memory of what he has done every year this goes on. But you have to realize the man was a Baptist preacher. You know, he pastored a church. A lot of stuff came through that church that he pastored. So we got to realize that the church has an involvement in this process, and we need to get involved. We need to make sure our members are registered to vote, and we got to make sure that they're voting. We need to make sure that they understand the voting process. We got to make sure that they understand how to read those ballots when they go down there. We got to make sure that elderly people are assisted in getting down there. And I tell people in my church all the time, find some elderly people, and you know, go down there. You know, it's some hoops they got to go through. Go stand in the line. It's a long line. Go stand in the line for them, and when it's time for them to get to the counter, go call them up there, and then they'll take their spot. That way you can help ease that burden that many of them will face when they're going through that process. There are ways to do this.
Kind of thing that they might have too in reference to the whole situation.
Well, yeah, because you got somebody there with them to, you know, to help them along with that process. And then of course when it comes to ex-offenders, I tell ex-offenders, if you don't have your voting rights, then what you need to do, go find 7 people and help them get registered to vote. Now since they took your 1 vote, now you got 7 more to replace it with. You know, you got to do something.
I would just say that in the Tennessee General Assembly, we filed something like 3,000 to 4,000 bills each session.